Good evening, guys. Welcome to the vlog. So today we will be creating this design in Figma. So what we have over here is a home page for a food and travel blog. Okay, so this is just one section that we are going to design today, but I'm planning to create more videos to help you guys create UI design for a blog and for a shop. So we will be creating more videos in the future related to this topic. Okay, but for now, just this one. Okay, just this section. Okay, so we have here is on the top we have the navigation menu, the H1 tag, the heading, and then we have some popular posts over here, and at the very end we have this button to view more food posts. So when you click on this button, it will take you to the recipes page. Okay, so the navigation menu is simple as well: home, shop, recipes, and travel. When you click on recipes, you'll be taken to the recipes page. When you click on home, this is the home page. Okay, this button takes you to the recipes page as well. Okay, and this is a very simple layout. We have a 12 column grid, and then these are the individual blog posts that are taking 3 columns each. Okay, so we will be using a lot of concepts over here. Okay, we will be using the concept of components. Okay, then we will be using the concept of variants. Okay, so if you can say here in the navigation link menu, one link is green while others are black. So the link that is green is in active state. Okay, so the variant is active, and for this the variant is default. Okay, so you go to the recipes page. Now recipes will become active and all the others will remain default. Okay, so we'll come back to the home page. So we are using component, variants, and we will also be using auto layout. Okay, so if you want to rearrange these posts in your design, you can do it very easily. So let's get started. So before that, I'll share the design file with you. So this is the design file. We have this frame over here. So this is MacBook Pro. Okay, and this is the navigation component which we are going to use. Okay, and these are the variants. The green one is active, this is default. Okay, so in our previous video we created a navigation component. Okay, and we also learned about these variants. So today we won't be doing all that. Okay, we'll just grab it from our previous tutorial, grab this section from a previous tutorial. If you haven't seen that video yet, you can pause this video and check that video first so that you can understand how to create this thing. Okay, and yeah, also since we are using auto layout, and we'll also learn about constraints and resizing, and we will make this frame responsive. Okay, so see, if you resize this frame, all the components, all the elements are going to resize accordingly. Okay, all right, so let's get started. So here we have a blank screen. We'll go to frames, we'll select MacBook Pro. Okay, let's make it zoom to fit. Over here we'll call it home. So to this frame we will add a grid. Okay, so this will be a 12 column grid. The gutter we will keep as 16 pixels and the margin will be 16 pixels as well. So once that is done, like I said earlier, the navigation component, we will be using it from our previous tutorial. So over here I've already created a navigation component and these two variants. So I'll quickly copy it from this and I'll paste it over here. Okay, I'll leave the link to this video in the description. Okay, so you can check this video. Okay, yeah. So now we have the component, but since this is a travel vlog, we also need to add a link for travel. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, and for that we'll just copy paste this recipes link and we'll call it travel. Okay, so first we need to make sure that the horizontal spacing between all these links is equal. So we'll keep it as 16 pixels. And then we need to center align this entire group. Okay, so select this group and do center align. Okay, that's it. So the navigation component is ready. Now we need to make this component responsive. Okay, so for that we will need to add some constraint options. Okay, so first let's select all the individual elements that are there inside this frame and let's create a group. Okay, so we'll select this group, then then we'll select this icon group, then we'll select the logo and we'll select the rectangle. Once you selected everything, just do right click and group selection. Once you've created a group, we need to set the constraints for all these elements. So the logo is always going to stick to the left. Okay, so the constraint for logo will be left. This thing will always stick to the right. So constraint for this icon group will be right. And all these links will remain in the center. Okay, wait, I'll show you. So over here, when we resize this thing, you'll see the logo sticks to the left. All right, all these icon groups will stick to the right. See, they won't move, they'll stick to the right. And all these links, they'll remain in center. Okay, yeah. So that's it over here. Let's get back to our design. Okay, so the constraint for logo, we are going to go to constraints and then we are going to set it to left. Okay, this thing will be in the center and this thing will be on the right. Okay, then we have one more element, this rectangle that we have over here, this rectangle. So this rectangle will cover the entire width. Okay, so for this we need to set left and right. Okay, so once you have done that, you can copy and paste that component inside your frame. Okay, yeah, so here we have the component. Now the last thing that we need to do to make this thing responsive is that you need to select this entire component and make it left and right. Okay, so earlier we selected for the rectangle, but now we need to do for the entire component as well. And it's best to do it once you have copy and pasted it inside your frame. Okay, so select your component and just go to constraints and do left and right. Now if we say our navigation menu has become responsive. All right, cool. Now let's move on to the adding the title and then the blog posts. Okay, so we'll add the title. Let's say food and travel vlog. Okay, now we'll set the font as Montserrat. and the font size that we are going to use is 48 pixels. Okay, now we will center align it, and the distance between these two, the navigation and the title, we are going to keep it as 48. Okay, all right, so this is done. Now we need to add the images for the blog posts. So for that, we'll take a rectangle. Now since we have a 12 column layout and we have 4 images, we know that we can create a rectangle that covers 3 columns. Okay, so here we have our rectangle, but the images that we are going to use will have an aspect ratio of 4:5. So if this is 340, then height we will set to 425. Okay, and just calculate. It's up to you what aspect ratio you want to use. I'm using 4.5 over here because it will look good across all the screens, on desktop, on tablet, and even on mobile. All right, so over here we can place the image. All right, so let's go to fill, select image, then choose image, and here is our image. Okay, so this is done. Now we'll add the title for this blog. Let's call it Cherry Pancakes. So the font will remain the same, Montserrat. However, the font size we'll use is 24, and we are going to choose the font weight as medium. Okay, so now we will keep the distance between these two as 24. All right, now once you've done that, select the rectangle, select the text, and do frame selection. Once you've created a frame, add an auto layout. Okay, you must have seen that this thing immediately moved to the left when I did an auto layout. Okay, so to bring it to center, just click here in the center of this rectangle, and automatically it will be center aligned. Okay, so now we'll quickly copy and paste this. Okay, so we'll just make sure that every frame has got a horizontal spacing of 16 pixels between them. All right, so now we'll select this rectangle and we'll choose an image. So this is the image that we're going to use. Okay, now let's call it chocolate mousse. Now see, since we have used an auto layout, it automatically keeps this title in the middle. Okay, so you don't have to do anything. You just need to type whatever text you want. Okay, so now we'll change this image as well. Okay, let's call it mango pudding. And now the last one. Okay, this one is strawberry donuts. All right, so now this is done. All right, but this thing is not responsive. Okay, so we need to make that responsive. So select all these frames. Okay, and then do frame selection. So now we have one big frame. Okay, now to this frame you add an auto layout. All right, once you've done that, go to individual frames. Okay, select this frame and set the resizing option to fill container. Okay, once you've done that, you also need to set this image to fill container. Okay, so select the image and then in resizing set it to fill container. All right, so now we need to do this for all the remaining frames as well. So select the frame, set the resizing to fill container, and select the rectangle and set the resizing to fill container. Okay, so again select the frame, fill container, select the rectangle, fill container. Again for this one, fill container, select the rectangle, fill container. Okay, that's done. Now one last thing that we need to do is we need to select this entire frame, and since we want it to cover the entire screen from left to right, the constraint and resizing for this frame will be left and right. Okay, so once you've done, you can see that this thing has become responsive. Okay, so the title bit we haven't done, so we'll do that. Okay, so 1440, this title we will do the constraints as center. Okay, so now that is done as well, and the spacing between these two we are going to keep as 48. Okay, now let's check once again. So now everything should be responsive. Cool. Yeah, so now we just need to add the button. Okay, so we'll add the button now. So go to text and say more food posts. Okay, so we'll change the font to Source Sans Pro. We'll keep the font size as 20 pixels and this will be semi-bold. Okay, now to create a button, what we'll do is we'll do frame selection to this text. Once you have done frame selection, we'll do add auto layout and we'll click this tiny icon over here, then we'll set it to the center, and then we'll set the left and right padding and top and bottom padding. So let's say left and right will be 32 pixels and top and bottom will be 16 pixels. All right. Okay, so we'll also add a border to this button. So for that, just go to stroke and add a stroke. Okay, once that is done, align it in the center. Okay, keep the spacing between them as 24. Oh, let's keep it as 48. Okay, and now we'll add the constraint and resizing option to button as well, so that it can become responsive. We'll make it align to the center. Now you see our entire design is now responsive. Cool. So the major portion is done. Now we just need to look at the prototyping or the interaction. So when you click on recipes, we need to go to the recipes page, or when we click on this button, we need to go to the recipes page, right? So we'll create a frame for the recipes page. Okay, so there we have. Let's call this recipes. We'll add the layout grid, 12 column layout, 16 pixels gutter, 16 pixel margin. That is done. We'll take this component and we'll bring it inside our recipes frame. Okay, so now we have two pages. So now let's first work on the home page. So for home page, the home link is going to be active. So click on home, select this frame, and over here we have the property. So just set it to active. So we have done this in the previous video, guys, in the video about navigation, creating a navigation menu using components and variants. So you can learn how to do this in that tutorial. Okay, so for now I'm just going to set it to active, and over here for the recipes page I'll make recipes as active. Okay, so once that is done, we need to go to the prototype section. All right, okay, so let's delete everything from here for now. Okay, yeah, so select home, and this is the main navigation component that is outside of our frame. Okay, so on click, navigate to home. All right, and when you click on recipes, we again want to navigate to recipes. Okay, so we have added recipes and home, and also we need to add interaction to this button. So over here, when you click on this button, we want it to navigate to recipes. Okay, so I think it's done now. We can just preview this. Okay, so first what we need to do is scale down to fit width, and then we also want to hide this thing over here. So just uncheck this thing, show Figma UI. So there we have our blog. Okay, nice. So we click on recipes, it will take us to the recipes page. This link will become active. Click on home, we'll come back to the home page, and this will become active. If we click on this button, it will take us to the recipes page, and then we can come back. So that's it, guys. That's it for today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please click the like button, and if you want to learn more, please subscribe. And if you have any queries, you can post them in the comment section below. Okay, guys, thank you.